Tom, thanks so much for joining me here. We're at Pro Food Tech 2019 at McCormick Place. It's been a great show. We're wrapping it up today, but I wanted to take a little bit of time with you to talk about a couple of cool things PMMI has going on. First one being, of course, the Taste of Processing white paper. Can you tell me a little bit about the overall scope of that white paper, why PMMI did that white paper, and what the kind of 40,000 foot findings from that white paper are?
Sure. Well, Andy, first, it's good to see you again. It seems that we get together at the shows. This is the second edition of Pro Food Tech, and we're pretty pleased with what we've seen out on the floor. It is an opportunity to bring the food and beverage processing marketplace together. I think we've accomplished that. When we did the white paper, one of the pieces that we thought was important is to take a look and try and understand what was happening internationally. So it was a taste of processing on a global basis, and we found some good statistics. Number one, it's a growing market. It is being led by three areas right now that are all international: India, China, and Canada. The US continues to be a strong area. Those three are growing at an even faster rate than what we have. One thing that I thought was very important is, you say, why is it growing like that? It's a boost in the middle class. In a number of those countries around the globe, they have more discretionary spending, and they're beginning to look at the opportunities for habit, although the focus is absolutely on healthier trends. The focus is on more specific options, or I should say more specific options for a consumer, which translates frankly to more diversity in the options available from the marketplace.
Well, and it's interesting you talk about the rising middle class in some of those countries that you mentioned. It seems that a lot of the evidence to this point has been anecdotal. You know, people talk about in India and China and Asia in general, the middle class is growing and they want to spend more specifically on our readers' products, meat and poultry type products, but I don't know of a ton of information that is beyond anecdotal on that. So talk a little bit about some of those trends in that middle class that you've seen through the white paper reporting on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That healthier option is just leading the parade.
Okay.
It's the opportunity for a consumer to say, we are looking for more options available in the diet. So even as our diet choices are growing because we have more discretionary spending, we still want to take a look and say, what we had before, okay, what other options do we have available? And I think the whole of the meat and poultry area is responding. In fact, that is the largest market segment in the study that we're doing. It's followed by confectionery and dairy. We also have two or three others, baked goods, but 22% of the overall market is in in meat and poultry, the machinery market. Big market. We're forecasting a little over a 6% growth rate over the next 3 years through the year 2020, and that puts us at about, at the end of the study forecast, a little under $4.5 billion, but it's starting off then in the mid $3.5 billion as an overall market, again globally. A good level. It's good for your readers to understand that as that market for automation continues to grow, they're going to be the ones that are making those choices to do the investments in order to keep up and provide those options that the consumer is seeking.
Now, are you seeing within that meat and poultry machinery growth, are you seeing any specific area that's growing faster than others, or any one or two areas in which that growth that's driving that growth?
I think the two areas that we'll touch on, one is an increasing growth in automation itself. So the automation is not just in the machinery, but the control systems around that. The second one, which I think we'll talk about in a minute or two here, is that growth in the industrial robotics area. Robots are taking an increasing presence, not only in all aspects of market, of the food and beverage market, but specifically in the meat and poultry area because of some of the options that you have available and some of the improvements that you can do in both throughput and analysis of the raw product coming in.
And we will definitely talk about the robots and the automation for sure in a separate episode. Really quickly to kind of wrap up, where does food safety fit into all of this? You know, are these growing markets really concerned about it, or is that, you know, obviously in the U.S. you talk to anybody and food safety is top of mind. Is that different? Do you see any difference in that in the white paper?
Absolutely not. Food safety is a global issue. In fact, I can share that PMMI held a conference for a group called the Cold Pressure Council here at Pro Food Tech 2019. The Cold Pressure Council is focused on a particular area called high pressure processing. That one of the presentations was from a company in South Africa that talked about the very definition and need and growth of HPP in their business. They were talking about their specific business due completely to food safety. Food safety is something that we are understanding and know that is on a global basis. You want the food that a company is producing and providing to the marketplace to be safe. It needs to be safe for everyone, and that is not even an optional piece. It's a starting baseline that is a given for any work that you're doing in this area.
Well, and that's good to hear. So thanks, Tom. I appreciate your time on this. We'll have another video episode. We'll talk a little bit more about robots. And thanks for having me out to Pro Food Tech. And thanks, great show. And we'll talk a little bit more. Thanks.
Thanks. Good to see you.